What's up, guys? I got my 2000 Civic again. Bunch of issues again. The lights are flickering. I've been on the forum. Could be a number of things: fuse, wire behind the intake, or even the alternator. I checked all of them already, and they're all good. Now, if you see, these lights flickering over here. Obviously, it's an electrical issue. So, could be also at the alternator. The regulator inside isn't doing its job. Probably overcharging the battery. And this has been going on for a few months now. I thought maybe it'll just go away. It was the winter, whatever. How I first diagnosed it was, I checked the battery. Battery was getting 16 volts. Terminals are clean, not loose, whatever. There's a wire behind the intake, supposedly they say is loose or rubbing. None of that. And I forgot which fuse it is, but there's a fuse underneath. They also say it might be going bad, but it's all fine. And if you take a peek at the dash, you could see the lights flickering too. It's kind of hard to tell, but anyways, you get the idea. So what I'm gonna do is remove the alternator and take it to, you know, the auto parts store and get it checked out there. So first things first, what you want to do is get all your tools ready. Typically you'll need for a Honda, it's always your 12, 14, you know, your little wrenches. I recommend a screwdriver, 10 millimeter, I said, 12, 14. Yeah. I'm going to take off the battery now. It's usually a 10. I already went ahead and loosened things up, so if it looks a little easy, just because I already started a little work ahead of time. Right, the reason why I'm taking off the battery is because you have two connections at the alternator. One's the power and one's I guess like the signal or something. And I'm doing this so in case metal to negative, you know, you get a spark. That's pretty dangerous. Alright. Fender cover, you don't want to scratch the beauty paint. You got the alternator right there in that area. So obviously you got to get all that out the way. You got this wire here. There's a tiny little clamp over here. Clamp right there that needs to come off because you got to get this wire out the way. Also, you got your power steering line that runs all the way to here, so that needs to come off. You're gonna get a little bit of fluid coming out. Might have to use that rag, a piece of that rag too. Make sure to keep these. Okay, so there's power steering fluid in this line. So as soon as you pop it off, you got a rag. I'm gonna cover it up. Alright, there you go. It's gonna get a little messy. So, just get this out the way. Alright, so, you got this cable, well, this harness over here, bracket. Like I said, I loosened some stuff already. This can come off. This off to the side. You got this 10 millimeter over here that you should use the wrench for. Well, might not have to take that off. Let's see. This harness has a little tab over here. You pull up. Squeeze it. Let's see. Yeah, you push the little tab up right here. Push that up. And you slide that out. Let me cut this. Don't mind the zip tie, I had a wire rubbing. Well, anyways, that wire has to get out the way. Alright, and like I said, there's a... I might just be able to take this off. There's another wire connected to this. Push away. Give me a second. Push down the tab. And you move this out the way. Now, if you look down here, you got 2 bolts. This one over here allows it to move up and down to tighten the belt, and you got one over here that actually mounts to the cart itself. For that 14 wrench. Oh, no, it's a 12. Alright, we're going to loosen this. It's a 12 millimeter. Alright, save that bolt. Now there's another one that actually mounts it to the car itself. It's right over here. I know that wire's in the way, but... that's a 'This holds the bracket that mounts to the engine, and in turn is the adjustment for the belt. So remember, the adjustments of 12 millimeter and the bracket itself is a 14 millimeter, so you can't mess them up. It's a rather long bolt. There you go. There it is. So you tighten it here, and the whole alternator will move up and down. See the alternator there? It's still tight down there, so you can't really take it out yet. Basically, once that loose, once the bottom bolt is loose, we could get it to move. Oh, big thing also, obviously. If you look under here, yeah, you got your connector and your power cable. Remember, I disconnected the battery, don't forget. That little nut right there, that holds it on. 10. No, safety first. Alternator connector. Push down on that tab and it'll come up. Green connector. So far everything's coming out the way pretty good. Here. Nope, everything looks good down here. Now, down here. Another mount. Alright, so this is the under view of the alternator. Now, take a look. This is the bolt that runs across the whole thing. There's a 14 right here. 14 nut. This is like a weird, kind of like a stop bolt. It's flat. So when you loosen up the nut, it won't spin against the, I guess this mount over here. So that's 14. And what I did was, before I even started my work, I gave it a little time. I threw some WD-40 on everything. Believe it or not, very well worth it. See how that nut comes off easy? I might need a hammer to push this out. The long bolt over here, not that it seized, but obviously it's metal to metal, so you're gonna have to persuade it out. I got a long skinny like piece of pipe or bar over here. I want to give it a few taps. I left the nut on there, a few threads on it, that way I don't damage the threads on the bolt itself. Is it moving? Moving a little bit.